All right, we all know about warranty nightmares. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated. If your warranty process still involves sticky notes, tribal knowledge, and late night claims rejections, you're leaving money on the table. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated brings clarity, compliance, and cash flow to your warranty game. They speak fluent OEM, and they've got your back. Hey, I want to encourage you to take a visit over to our partner, Target Automotive, at target.com. That is great until you're drowning in it. Target turns that chaos into clarity with dashboards that actually make sense. Fixed ops leaders finally get what they need: real-time, drill-down insights without the spreadsheet migraines. It's not just business intelligence, it's Target.
Well, today we have Kate Bierowski in the hot seat. She is the VP of Sales at Dealer Image Pro, and she's someone who knows exactly what separates the good sales people from the good from the bad from the good. And we're gonna dive a little bit into how top performers think and how they think and how they close deals in ways that most everybody else doesn't really notice or think about. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Kate, do you want to give us a little intro as to who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining. For those who did join. So I'm Kate Borowski. I have been only at Dealer Image Pro for a few months. So this is a new position for me, but I have been in the automotive industry for the last 10 years. I have really tried to understand the ins and outs of the industry. That's how I actually got connected with Russell originally. But outside of just the dealer world and what I've been doing is, I mean, I'm a mom first and foremost. So I have balanced the sales job with being a very busy mom with the two little kids, being a wife, and also like still trying to maintain my own hobbies, which is a challenge, I feel like, for working moms and all the other things that go along with it. But I've been in sales my whole career. It absolutely suits my personality. So it's funny when I entered into sales, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I initially went to school for criminal justice and then I switched to human resources and then sales. And I was like, well, duh, I've been a salesperson my entire life and I see it in my daughter. And I was like, oh, this girl's going to be good. So it is like absolutely a personality trait for myself and automotive. I'm stuck for life. I love it. So.
Yeah. Well, that was part of my first question is really what made you fall in love with automotive sales? Was it the energy, the cars, or just the thrill of the hunt?
I've always loved cars. My first car was a supercharged Grand Prix. Like I've always been a car girl. I love cars, but I initially actually started sales in trucking, so very different. But I started working and I fell in love with how the perception of dealerships are and how the automotive world is from a consumer standpoint, but how different it actually is from a business standpoint. And that fascinated me because they're so much more complex than one would initially think of a dealership, like just from an outsider's perspective. But then I fell in love with like technicians and the fixed operation side of the business of how complex it is. I just assume I'm going in getting my car fixed, and I didn't understand the complexities behind building a business, building a service department, and also I was told you need to go to a four-year school. I was told that you have to do something with your life, and we need technicians in the industry. So I've always been fascinated by those problems and how I'm going to say the real world looks at automotive versus how it actually is. And I want to change that perspective. I want to make a path for students to go to tech schools, but also for women to be in automotive. That is something that has been wildly important to me, and I've been the only female leader at a lot of tables. So I think those challenges I think attract me to the industry.
Yes, yes. We hear a lot of that. And I think you're stepping out of the box in a lot of ways. And I admire your
Getting
ability to
uncomfortable.
juggle. Yeah. And your ability to juggle so much. I know how difficult that can be. And it seems like your own hobbies get put very last, and and everything else comes first. I think it's safe to say that every great salesperson has an origin story. Is there a moment that you realized, yep, I'm built for this?
After she met Russell Hill, that's when she realized it.
Oh, no, I knew it. No, I think I don't think I've still ever had like that moment of like I'm built for this. But when I look back at like my personality and like I've always been a hustler. I've always been like, okay, if you sell the more expensive drink when you're waitressing, your tip gets bigger. Like I've always been motivated by doing what's next, and it's not always necessarily about sales, but the challenge of it. And some people get really intimidated of like, okay, we just finished our year. And I was like, well, now I don't care about last year. I care about this year. How are we going to hit those goals? And like that, having that as like, that doesn't intimidate me. It's more of like, okay, like forget the past. You get a clean slate every month. And I think I like that you always get, whether it was a good month or bad month, last month, you always get that clean slate. And I think that really motivates me to, the history doesn't always matter, that like it's always about what you're doing now that's going to impact your future. So I think that's one thing, like I like having that, wiping the history and always getting a clean slate every month, every year. So
Yeah, starting fresh, getting rid of if it was bad, getting rid of the bad and starting anew. And I could see that. What do you think makes for a good team culture in sales? What does it feel like? Is it sort of loud or competitive or supportive? What makes a good sales team?
well, you just described me, loud, competitive, supportive. Not having a team of all of me's is a very good thing. I have worked in like an office where we have 80 salespeople and it's loud, they're calling and they're egging each other on and it's competitive. I loved that, but also that does bring in those cutthroat factors. And then I've worked with small teams where there's two individuals and they're just supporting each other and they're like, hey, why don't you take this one? I got the last good one, or hey, can we trade? And it's there's and I always say like there's so many dealerships in this country. We don't need to fight over one dealer group. Like what are we doing? Like we're all one team. And understanding that factor of like karma, what you get is like you have to understand that. So I mean, you have to be competitive. Absolutely. I mean, it's funny when I do meet people that aren't competitive and I can't relate. I just don't understand it. I make games out of how fast I can do a Sudoku puzzle. Like I am extremist at every level of imagination. I literally like play games with myself. I don't know if it's healthy or not, but we're not talking about that right now. But I think like you have to have a competitive bone in your body, but also you have to have like that caring bone in your body. Like I truly want to help dealerships. I think one, that's why I've been so successful in sales is people trust me and like what you see is what you get, and I deeply care. So like that to me says a lot. Like there's successful salespeople that are the slimy salespeople. I feel like they're the outlier, and the outlier always makes the most noise. But like I think from a competitive standpoint and being a team that cares about each other and about the solution you're providing, that makes the best team. And one
Yeah.
person can ruin that. Like you can have that cancer on the team. You can, if you don't have someone that cares, they don't belong. And like it's going to come off in their sales numbers. It's going to impact your entire sales team.
Yeah, and I think that dealers in general can see through any sort of facade going on. They can see whether you are legitimately caring about them and their business or not.
Yes, I do, or they've been burned. And that's hard to also overcome of walking
Yes.
into a dealer, they've been burned, and then they automatically have their guard up. And then it's like, okay, how do I get you to trust me that I genuinely care? Generally, I've been told it's very clear to tell, like, I get excited, I talk really fast, and I'm very passionate. So it's pretty easy, but it is sometimes a hard thing to overcome for people. I'm just out there. So like most of the time you get to see it, but from sales in general, that can be a hard thing to overcome is they've been burned by vendors in the past.
Yeah, how do you get dealers to trust you? Do you have like a strategy or do you think it comes more naturally?
My smile, no, I'm just kidding. I
No, that's part of it.
um one, I think It is funny that I've talked about this more recently than in the past, but being from the Midwest, I think really does make a difference for people, which is funny that like it's the Midwest nice, and it is really, I think, a thing that people are like, you're taking your time, you're really nice, like you go out of your way. And I think one that does absolutely help me from that standpoint, but I have tried to build a following on LinkedIn, posting videos, trying to actually ask questions and learn and understand. I never go into a dealer and act like I know it all because absolutely I don't. And I think the first time I posted a video on LinkedIn was asking a question about how service advisors worked. I am not the know-it-all, and I think that is helpful for a dealer that I'm not going to come in and tell them how to do their job because all I can say is like a GM's job is extremely hard. A fixed ops director's, a service manager's job, it is so challenging. So like I never try to act like I know it all, but from Dealer Image Pro, we're the photo merchandising experts. I can own that and know that. So that's where I can act like an expert from that standpoint, or any product that we're selling. So that's important to me is like not to overshow and be that cocky sales, arrogant salesperson and make sure that I'm not trying to act like I know everything that they're doing.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is you sort of start with common ground and
Yep.
then and you don't act like a know-it-all. And it reminds me of a post I read on LinkedIn just a day or two ago of it was a long conversation about whether or not a vendor has any credibility if they've never worked in a dealership before. And it was back and forth that both sides went on. And I thought that was interesting. Have you personally worked in a dealership before, Kate?
No, and
Okay.
that has been part of like my question of should I have? When I was looking to make a job switch, I highly considered it. Um, I asked a few of my friends that work in dealerships today, call them, ask them like, what do you think? And truly, the work-life balance of a dealership doesn't work for me. I thought about it. I highly considered it, but there's no way. I could make I can't work Saturdays. I unfortunately can't commit to it. And that or I could, and I'm giving up a lot of things that I told myself I would never give up. I told myself I would not give up being home with my kids, being able to be there and my marriage, things like that that I didn't want to. But I desperately wish I would have sold a car before that I've worked in a service bay. And I really tried to put myself in their shoes because I don't have that experience. And I wish I did. I think it would help me immensely.
Yeah. Yeah, we bump across that every once in a while too. And I know Russell has. Russell has actually worked in a dealership before, but I haven't. And I know a lot of
Long
Love to bring in
16
the
years. Yeah.
consumer of I am the person buying the car. I am the person getting my car serviced, and I can bring in a very different light. And I know like from other channels, I was like, well, I'm the mom in the car. Like, don't you dare tap on my window in the service drive. I'm trying to hide goldfish. Like, let me get myself put together. And I say that jokingly, but also it's real life. Like, I don't want you to see what my car looks like right now. Like, let me hide my crap first and let me in. So I think that being also from the consumer standpoint of not having it, I think that's important. Just like even I'm not a photographer, but so I see images very different than how a GM might see them or the owner of my company who is a photographer. Absolutely, he calls out colors and blah 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 blah. And I was like, but I don't know what you mean, so I need to break this down to how a GM thinks of it. So I think it is also sometimes to my advantage of not being in a dealership and not always having that GM lens.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And so, what do you think that's one thing top salespeople do that average salespeople never think to try?
I
Wow.
don't think
Great
it's not that
question.
they don't think to try, they just choose not to do it. And it's following up.
Following.
No.
It's plain and simple. The follow-up
Mm.
process is the most important sales part of any process. If you are front and center, I love the compliment. Oh my gosh, you're like a bulldog. Like you don't let up. Exactly. I don't. Like I am determined to give you that best solution. Like that is not like that's not making fun of me. That's telling me one, I'm doing a good job or someone on my sales team is doing a great job. The follow-up piece of it, if you're front and center, guess what? Like you're going to be the one that gets the business. If after NADA, if you're the one following up, you're going to be the one getting the business. I think that is such an important piece. That is not rocket science at all, but that is what most salespeople miss out on. I'm afraid to bug them. I have nothing else important to say to them. You got to follow up.
Yeah.
Kate, can I ask what does that follow up look like
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you?
yeah. Yeah,
That was
great
going to be
question.
mine too.
Damn it. Great minds think alike.
Not sending, hey, I'm just following up with you, sir or ma'am. That email kills me. Because it's funny. It's as soon as I changed roles, the amount of influx of salespeople coming to me to sell me a new solution. Again, GMs, if they're watching, like I'm there, they're trying to sell me something too, but you need to get my interest and solve one of my problems. And so one thing I always coach my team on is don't send the follow-up email. You send, hey, and I'm using imaging examples, but hey, this is what your website looks like today. This is what it would look like with us. Keep this front of mind. Or do you know what the cost of not getting your cars uploaded same day? What does that cost you? I am putting nuggets of information in front of them that are actually meaningful, not just say, hey, I'm here to follow up, or hey, I want to stay at the top of your email. Yeah, I'm aware you want to stay at the top of my email, but you have to do something that's actually going to add value to me and solve my problem. And it's not hard to come up with those. Like if you have a solution that solves your problem, you should have a lot of examples of how you're benefiting dealers. Or, hey, we just posted this blog. I thought you might find it useful. You're providing value to them at the front, and then they trust you instead of the follow up, follow up, follow up.
How many follow-ups? Like, is it a mix between emails and phone calls? And I mean, how many times do you think you need to touch them before they turn over?
Um, I mean, I wish there was a magic number. I mean, that would be great if I had the perfect number or the perfect sequence or cadence for it. But if they're engaging and they're having the conversation, I mean, if they're same blowing you off and you haven't had a conversation with them in 2 months, I mean, you eventually got to give up and let marketing do their job of re-engaging with them. But if I walked in and I shook their hand, they showed me that they actually had a problem and we have a solution. Again, I would be that bulldog of I have a hard time giving up on that. And then I'm
Quick break in the action. Let's talk parts. Yeah, that corner of the dealership most people don't look at until there's a fire. Parts Edge helps you clean up that mess. Smarter inventory, better margins, and no more guessing games. It's like giving your parts manager a crystal ball, except this one actually works. Spiffy. You can manage your mobile appointments, optimize your service routes, track inventory, and process payments. All with Spiffy, and you can learn more at spiffy.com. You ever wish you could inspect every car like a tech with X-ray vision? UVI is like an MRI for your car. UVI doesn't miss a thing. Scans the tires, the underbody, body panels, and wheels for scuffs in seconds, giving your team instant, actionable intel without slowing down the lane. That's not the future. That's UVI, and it's live in stores today.
going to try my hardest to get in front of them. Sometimes it's 6, 7 times. It might be a LinkedIn message. It might be an email. It might be I'll record a video sometimes just so they see my face, they see I'm human. And that's an important aspect of it. If I'm not just a robot sending emails, it's not an automated marketing email. It is me actually truly caring about their business. Or I mean, I love to razz people about football. It's something on my TV every Sunday that I will send memes about the Bears all day long. I'm not a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan. We got our butts kicked last week. But guess what? They love like jazzing back and forth about those things to just have an engagement again to humanize it. But I'm getting distracted, Charity. This is my MO, that is me. I will follow up like 7 times. That would be like if I had a magic number.
That would be like the ideal number. I've heard anywhere from 9 to 20. Like in that range is like sort of a good ballpark.
If they're clicking and engaging with the emails, like to me, then, or they've clicked multiple times or they've clicked a link, then that's engagement and I'll keep going. But if they've full on. They haven't opened an email. They're doing nothing to engage with me. I've sent texts. I've called nothing. Then I mean, I'm gonna give up and not waste my time.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say about sort of following through with your dealers after they've made the purchase, like keeping them happy while they're on the solution?
So one thing that I learned working at the trucking company, Schneider, is you have to earn your right to grow. So whether or not, when people move freight, you might get one shipment and you got to follow it through all the way. Well, to earn all of their business, you need to continually keep doing a good job. And I think that's an important aspect. So that's really how I treat my dealers. I was at a prior company. They called me saying, "Hey, I'm having an issue." Well, I left on really good terms. I was like, "Hey, I'll take care of you." I don't even work there anymore. And I was like, "Hey, this is how you solution this." And I didn't have to do that. I knew like it's not going to result in a sale for me right now, but it's going to result in a sale for a future, whether it's Dealer Image Pro or whatnot. So I went out of my way. I swung by their dealership actually today. That's what I was doing. And I was helping them with the solution. And I did like call my sales team at my previous company and let them know, "Hey, just so you know, I am helping them out." And when they have an issue or if I'm selling them something, they're trusting me because I'm gonna take care of them the life that I know them. In the dealer world is a relationship business. And everyone in this call I'm sure knows that you can burn a bridge. You don't want a bad name in this industry. Everyone's in a 20 group. Everyone talks about you. And like that is an important aspect that people need to realize that like you have to earn that right. And I've worked hard on building, kind of branding myself. Who am I? And people get what they see. And like you have to really own that. And from a growth standpoint, I'll start with one dealership. I earn that right. And guess what? If I'm doing my job right, they're going to tell their other dealers or I'm going to ask for a referral and they're going to give it to me. And I think again, that's where I've found success is building relationships and growing them. But I don't ask for the business unless we haven't done it. If we're not servicing in that account, there is no way in heck I'm going to call them and ask for more business from them until we make things right because I'm not gonna buy something if the company sucks. I'm gonna go to a different brand, a different vendor, a different whatever it is, if they haven't proven to me that they deserve my business. And that's the car industry.
Yeah. So, can you maybe comment a bit more on the importance of relationships in the automotive industry?
I would not be where I'm at in my career without relationships. I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that. I talk to like Joe and Roger in the SDL group, and like I am beyond thankful because they help me gain confidence. They let me ask questions. They let me learn. And those relationships have helped me build my own confidence and then going out and being able to learn the other side. I'm now on the variable side, which like I crossed to the dark side, according to all of my friends in the industry, but it is wildly different. And I am actually now looking for a group. I'm attending a networking event at NADA, the Women in Automotive Auto Care event, just so I can find some female friends to actually leverage and talk to and build that network because those relationships matter. And relationships, I mean, again, automotive industry, everyone switches jobs like hotcakes. It's a GM, oh, bad month, you're out, you're going to a new dealer and everything else. And guess what? They're going to bring your service with you if you have a relationship. And that's how we expand a lot of getting a Ziegler on our platform to getting a Cavender Auto Group. Like, hey, those are two great groups that I've been able to get into, all because of having a solid relationship with one person. They bring you to the next one. So, like, I can't stress those importances of for my own personal growth and like what I've been able to learn and develop, but also just from growing business aspect because people switch jobs all the time from Napleton to Rustero to all across the board. It's a great opening. But if you have onboarded a customer and said, "Peace out, see you later, I've sold it, wipe my hands and you're done," guess what? They will remember that and they will go to someone else because, again, there's more people like me that care deeply about what they're doing. They're going to go to that vendor if I'm not the one doing it first. So.
Yes. How do you, and I'm making the assumption that you train other salespeople, but how do you teach them how to build relationships like that? How do you guide them through that? Is it teachable?
I think it's teachable to certain people. I some people don't care and they probably don't work for me, to be honest. Like I'm blunt. Like I tell people how it is. Like I'm nice and I'm sweet and I smile, but like also I have no problem giving very direct feedback of you have to be willing to have those relationships. Otherwise you're not probably going to be a fit on my team and it doesn't really fit my sales strategy. But what I've done, and from like a training aspect, is I am very hands-on, and that's one thing over the last 3 months of joining a company, taking over a sales team, and building it out is I am doing the work. I was in the field today with one of my regional sales managers, letting him see me try. And I didn't sell anything. I went into some relationships I had, but I had really good conversations. And like that's the foundation, that's the baseline. I didn't think I was going to walk in and just sell things magically. Like you have to create value, you have to catch people at the right time. But they got to see me try, and that's something they've never had before. And week 2 on the job, I was like, hey, can I try to demo this for you? And you guys watch me and see how I do, and you guys can critique me. None of the work is below me. I don't want to do that forever. I don't want to be in the weeds forever. But as I'm taking on and I'm learning and understanding their job, again, I haven't been working there for 4 years like they have been, or the challenges that they've seen. I can't act like I know more than they do without me trying. And I think that to me is like one of my stronger leadership qualities, is like willing to do that. I have a new SDR. They've never had an outbound sales strategy, which is fine. They've done so well without an outbound sales strategy. Their marketing team is amazing, but no one's cold called really before. So I was like, well, here we go. And hey, I'm Kate from Dealer Image Pro. And I got laughed off on the phone and my team's laughing. And I was like, guess what? That's going to happen. But then I had a really good, meaningful conversation and they got to see that. And I think that's an important thing, that I'm okay with them seeing me fail. I'm not perfect. I might look like I have my stuff all together, but I don't. Like, I literally just cleaned my office before this, so you guys would think I'm really clean and neat. But like, that's my personality of like, I'm willing to try, I'm willing to fail, I'm willing to let people see the dust in the corners of my house. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to try. And like in that I think has been an important part. So with building relationships, I went into someone and I knew we weren't going to sell, but he could see my relationship and it was the baseline to getting to the next level in that. And I think, to answer your question, is I really lead by example of showing. I show them how I've done it. I show them how I would do it. I'll introduce them to people. And I think that that's my method of training. It's not the most efficient way of training, but I don't know how else to get it across to them without them seeing me do it, because otherwise they don't always believe me. They're like, oh, it's whatever.
Yeah. Do you think that you can kind of tell with salespeople whether or not they're gonna make the cut if they, if they have certain personality qualities or
I can normally tell within a few weeks. I don't know if I should say lucky, but when I first started being a sales manager, I got to train people for their first 90 days. And so the baseline, they've never done sales before, to coaching them. And my job was either to coach them up or coach them out. And because sales is an expensive thing, recruiting is expensive, onboarding is expensive, training them is expensive, that if we can't get them producing money as a company, it doesn't make sense to keep them. And everyone has hired someone, you're like, oh, this person's not going to make it. Well, you got to get a thick skin and you got to be willing to make that hard cut. And I think that's an important aspect. But a lot of it has to do, and I actually was talking to someone internally about this who's trying sales on my team right now, that they've never done sales before. And I was like, the only thing I can't teach you, I can teach you industry, I can teach you how to cold call, I can teach you the best way to source leads, all of that. But I can't teach the work ethic. And
Yep.
sales is hard. I am the first one to say it. If it was easy, we would all be doing it, making
That's
$1 million.
right.
And there's a reason why I'm not doing the sales myself anymore. One, I just like people and I like coaching people and helping them grow. But also, I don't have it in me to pick up the phone every single day and call. If I did, I would have a lot less stress and I would just be focused on selling. But it's you can't teach that and you can't force that want. So when I've worked with people and they're like, oh, I gotta call again. Oh, I gotta call again. I was like, what are you gonna do for the next 3 years, 2 years, year? That like they can't see that. That's one of the indicators from that standpoint. Or constantly trying to find shortcuts around it of like, oh, let me try this, let me try that. And I was like, no, like we can't shortcut this. You can't shortcut your onboarding or, oh, I didn't tell them about the like we don't do this. I was like, well, if you sell something and it's going to go downstream, they're going to cancel. And like
Yep.
we can't sell that way. So I see the shortcut aspect and not the desire to dial, the desire to go again. Because again, I like the whiteboard feeling. I can wipe off my whiteboard at the end of the month and I have a new month, I have a new goal. And that's either think it's a great thing after a shitty, crappy month. Sorry, I didn't want to swear. Try not to, but that's a great thing after a crappy month. But it's a really hard thing after a really good month. If I killed it this month, nobody cares anymore because I have a new month. And that being able to transition from that, like, is also an indicator for me is like, I killed it last month, though, Kate. Well, I don't care. We got a new goal. We still got to work hard. And like that, the job never ends.
Yeah, they
Well
have to be able
said.
to keep momentum going. Yeah.
And I care.
Does
I
anybody
want
have,
them to do well, and I will pay them for it. I'll pay them very well for it. But now I need to do it again.
yeah. Yeah, you have to be able to have the endurance to keep up with that. Yeah.
Endurance, that's a good word for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? No. Well, you mentioned it briefly, Kate, like during the bad months, when your team might be feeling kind of down and kind of bummed, what do you do to give them a boost? What do you do to, get them back and excited and ready to go again?
My honest, I'm you guys, honest Kate every time is I'm gonna give them a sale. I'm gonna give them a freebie, something that I've gotten in. And sales leaders might say like, no, don't do that. But sometimes we just need like a confidence boost of like, okay, here's a gimme, here we go. And just to help them get out of the rut and also know that I care. So that was my first thought. And I needed to be honest, but really it is hard to get them out of it where, and it depends on your team, but like I like running like little contests, little things of like, hey, I know this is tough. Or I will like, I really dive in deep with them of like, okay, let's go through your pipeline. What have you done to help them identify things? Because again, it's something that they could be missing. It could be their follow-up. It could be you haven't reached out or you're just sending the basic, hey, just following up with you. Did you decide on what to do? Like, again, no one responds to those. So I do try to get really granular with it, and understand that. But and I honestly like I want them to be happy to come to work. That like I'll sometimes like drop a DoorDash. Like some people just have a crappy month. And I'll be like, hey, order something from DoorDash. My card's on the file. Here's the link. And like I'll do things like that to just let them know I care. But if they haven't, I don't like doing that if they haven't earned it though. Like if they're
Yes.
working hard, they're doing the efforts, and sometimes stuff just doesn't land. Your
Yep.
decision maker quit, and you were just about to close a big deal. Nothing is worse, and I get that. So go get a coffee, go take a break, and come back clear-headed. Like I do little things like that to just try, or I try to know their favorite candy bar, that kind of thing. But if they haven't earned it though, they've got to do the work. And I think that's a learning I've had early on is
Yep.
sometimes if they're not working, but I
Mhm.
still trying to shower them with things, I was like, what am I doing? So,
Yeah. Don't reward bad behavior.
yep.
No, no.
Well, you mentioned competition a little bit and like some incentives. Do you find that creating like a competitive environment or, pitching them into sort of like a game where they can outcompete and sort of have a challenge or maybe incentives? What do you think works for, giving them more energy to be more successful?
Um, it can be a slippery slope. I believe that you definitely have a sales team and then you're like, wait, I'm rewarding them for doing their job. So I mean, there you have to make sure you know what you're rewarding. I'm not rewarding them to make their 100% of calls a day because that's their job and that's what we pay a base salary for. So like I am very particular about that. And it doesn't always work for everyone. I'm the one who makes their own game out of Sudoku. So like clearly I am overly competitive in every way of imagination. So like doing games like that, heck yeah, I'm in. You will see me bust out 200 calls then because I want whatever that extra incentive is. It doesn't work for everyone though. So I think you have to really understand your team and also understand what you are selecting for them to be like what type of motivator are you doing? Are you motivating them to do their base job? We have other problems then we should look at. Or are you motivating them to go above and beyond? So, like NADA is how many weeks away? My team, if they have to hit 85 calls in a day, and I want them to, like, hey, if you've hit 110 for 3 straight days, I'm buying you lunch. That's different because you're going above and beyond. So things like that, absolutely. And I mean, I was that salesperson that any competition, sucker me in, I'm in, I will do whatever you want. It's a problem, it's internal. You should see me play games with my kids. I never let them win. So like it really does depend on the type of salesperson. I know, Russell, I am terrible, but guess what? They're competitive too. And like
That's
my
life.
when my little girl is in soccer and she's little, like compared to the other girls, she takes an elbow, she is ticked off and she's like, I'm going to like,
She
and
she
I like
doubles down.
she sure does. And like that's the competitive part of like I might be little, but I am feisty and she has my
Yeah.
eyebrows, like she has my face, like she's determined. So it's not a bad thing to be competitive, but as long as but I can also I don't like losing, but I can move on from it and it's my motivator for the next. So like also your team needs to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, competition, being competitive is a great life skill. I think it gives you grit and fire. And you know, if you have my son the other day said, I don't have a goal, mom. I have a or no, I don't have a dream, mom. I have a goal. And I thought that was like really smart of an 11-year-old. I was like, okay, well, you're right. I'm just side question for like the average salesperson to be successful. How many phone calls should they be making a day? How many emails should they be sending a day? How much time should they be spending on the road? What does that look like?
So if we're talking like an inside sales rep that is 80%, I'm going to say outbound sales. So like they're getting some inbound leads that they're working. I mean, it's going to depend on every job. I think I use the number 85 because that's how I started in sales. And God, it was a lot of calls, but it was
A
effective.
lot.
It was, but I also wasn't given any inbound leads and I had to strum up my own business. That was also me account managing some of those calls. And they're not purely all cold calls because you're doing follow-ups and things like that. But that's always been the number I've gone with my whole career because I was able to do it with zero automation, no one finding me leads for me. I had to self source all my leads and it was achievable. I mean, it was hard, but also I sat down and got to work. So that's always been the number I've gone off of from like an inside sales perspective. There's some people I've hired from an SDR's perspective that is just booking demos for people. They've used to have to do like 150 to 200 calls, and I was like, oh, that would I couldn't do that. So I have a hard time trying to make other people do it, and maybe that's a fault to myself, but. I also think like they're churning and burning and they're not building any relationships. And I do struggle with that because I'm so much of a relation sale. Um, and this is actually part of our discussion internally right now is creating those KPIs. I don't want my team also demoing all day because there's nothing worse that if I was going back to back podcasts or videos right now in similar, you don't know what you've said. And that I've done it when I worked at Wrenchway. I used to have a full day demo. So I was like, I don't know if I mentioned this for you. I've been back to back today and I like try to play it off cute, but like also it is mentally draining and it's like how impactful is my
Oh,
sales
yes,
if
it
I'm
is.
just being robotic? And it was no fault to anyone. I'm the one who did it to myself. I'm the one who plans my calendar. So I'm like trying to feel out of I want a relation sale. Like is 3 to 4 achievable per day? and can you still maintain those relationships and build that and know everything you're saying? So that's actually something that I don't have an answer for. I think every business is going to be different. I think every person is going to be different, but I think 85 calls a day is achievable from like a sales perspective. But the other stuff I'm still figuring out because every product is so different, and the product we're doing now is definitely different.
Yeah, I just like to see that window into what a salesperson is doing, like what a successful salesperson is doing all day, what it takes. And it's a lot. Like it's not meant for everybody.
Well, and I will add, is when you have 85 calls that you need to know what that mix is because it can't be straight 85 cold
No,
calls every day because then when are they doing their follow-ups? And
that's right.
again, I said one of the biggest things salespeople don't do is follow up. But it also can't be all follow-ups because once you're done with all your follow-ups and say you're giving up on some of them, you have no more pipeline. So it has to be a really good mix of your account management, building relationship ones, follow-up calls to brand new cold calls every day. And that to me is more important than I guess a sheer number because that mix will keep you on a longevity of your sales pipeline than just a straight I'm dialing all day because like let's be honest, that's brutal. I could not do
It
85
is.
calls a day anymore. I mean, I could try maybe for a day, but
Maybe
It
for a
is a
day.
lot. Yeah. Geez, I just lost my other question that I had. It'll pop back into my head. Well, tell me, as far as like sales habits from people from your team, what sort of qualities do you look at? And this is the opposite of the other question I ask you. How do you know they're just going to crush it? They've got it. They've got the secret sauce.
Interesting question.
that's gonna make me think for a second.
Yeah.
And then the other one I forgot just came back. Let me note it down so I don't forget
Write it down quick. Your brain is like um when they can hold a conversation, and I mean that nicely, but directly, is like some people just can hold a conversation and be a human with people. And like I always use the example of like I can bring my husband to any work party and I don't have to babysit him. I don't have to watch, oh, make sure he's having a good time. And he can just hold a conversation. And that is what a salesperson needs to have from just a personality perspective of being able to talk to anyone because some of your sales you will talk on the phone and they're going to tell you about their whole life story and you need to be able to be interested but like hold a conversation with them in that aspect to me is one thing and then also being able to like move on from things. You got shut down, cool, move on. Like be a goldfish. What's the soccer show with Ted? Ted Lasso. When he always says be a goldfish, like for a goalie, like guess what? You let one in, you got to have another one. Like having that personality and like being able to talk to anyone is those things and then also being able to move quickly like you need some caffeine something that it is a speed game, it is an input equals output type of game. So like when I see that people have that raw talent, there's actually someone I posted on my LinkedIn. He has that talent of he can talk, he's very personable, he works really hard. I'm actually hoping I can hire him soon, but that's the talent I want. I don't care that there's no dealership experience. I can teach that. I can
That's
teach
right.
all. I can handle that. But someone who's like can hold a conversation, willing to work hard and be able to move on, like that goldfish, to me, like that's how I can generally tell. I was like, this kid's gonna be good. Like they're, and I say kid, but like I say that to anyone. Like this person's gonna be really good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back to the question I forgot. But you said you sourced your own leads when you first started. Were you just browsing the internet or was it flipping the phone book? How did you
Uh,
source them?
Not that old, thanks,
I
Charity.
don't know.
It was not a phone book, but
Gee.
Lord, I feel old.
I remember phone books.
That's a great
No,
that's a great question.
it was
Yeah.
Google. And I mean, I honestly still like using Google. Like, I have a hard time paying for a lead list. I'll be very honest because you can scrape a website pretty easily, very cheaply, but also I like targeting areas because then I'm learning what's going on. I use the same, which I think is like a funny line, but like if I'm calling Dallas, I'm going to ask about the Cowboys, which I don't even know if they're still in the playoffs. I'm not paying attention to that.
No.
But guess what? I'm gonna check before I call, or if I'm talking to anybody in Wisconsin, I was like, oh my God, that game was so bad. Like I will absolutely like I look for something to test my knowledge on. It was so bad, so bad. Um, and yes, I watched it even with a Bears fan, and it was so bad. But I will always like, I try to relate to someone and I try to target an area. And it might not be the most efficient, it might be the old school way of me, but like I've also now learned about like I've never used a system called Apollo before, and I've done a lot in the last 3 months, and it's kind of crazy the information that they can pull about people, like in my own
Yeah.
personal information's out there. It's fascinating.
What
Um,
is it?
Apollo. Um,
Apollo.
I've used
it,
Apollo. It's insane the amount of information that they have available. Like you can tell what somebody's freaking thinking about half the
yep.
time.
It's weird. It's weird, as all I'll say is like it's creepy, but there's been a lot of tools to help that efficiency that my team today doesn't even know what it's like to have to source really your own leads. But I think like I am much more, instead of like hitting those big numbers, if I'm going to effectively sell, I'm going to target specific people. I'll connect on LinkedIn. I do it a very targeted approach versus entry level. I just want them to get experience and call, call, call. So it is different when it comes to that. But I also think they appreciate the leads that they do get more. And I think that's an important thing because I love it when people in charity, you'll appreciate this. Oh, the marketing leads suck.
Yeah. It's
I
like
don't
you,
want to hear it. Shush your mouth. Like, I don't want to hear it. Because guess what? It's someone who said they were interested. Maybe they're not
yeah.
even a dealership. Guess what? Ignore it. But like that's one of our focuses is 40% of our leads are actually good qualified leads. Like that's a great number, our marketing team. And like we're getting a large number. And like that's something to be super proud of, that we're making sure like we are getting better quality leads. And then like something they can appreciate more. Or if I buy a list, and this has happened, oh, these phone numbers suck. This sucks. This isn't great. But if they do the work themselves, they're much more appreciative and they actually like take care of those leads better, I think. So that's kind of always been my philosophy. It's not something I'm like hard set on, but I just think they're more appreciative. I was like, I'm giving you a list to call. You didn't have to work for it. Why are you complaining? Is ultimately like my feedback back to them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or if it's like just a bad phone number, it's like, well, then go find the dealership and find the phone number. Like they plugged in
You don't need to
maybe by
tell me about
accident.
it because I can Google it for you too, but like also I'm not your mom. I have to do that stuff for my own kids. Like this is a job.
Yeah. They would appreciate it more if they had to work for it.
No.
Right.
Yep. And I know I did too. Like that was something I took more seriously, I think, because like I did the work and look at it paid off and like you see it from cradle to grave, and that's an important aspect for the sales team, I think.
Yeah. Um, well, let's talk about NADA since it's coming around the corner. And as a salesperson or anybody who's looking to build their brand, how do you utilize NADA? I assume is your company getting a booth? Are they exhibiting?
Yep, so
Okay,
we
so you have the benefit of a booth. Some people don't. But how do you approach an event like that, and what do you hope to get from it when it's over?
I would say save all of your extroverted energy for the show.
No
Because
doubt.
like I could be very extroverted, but also I could be very introverted. Like I had a lady talk my ear off on the airplane right before a show. And I was like, I'm wasting, like I was like, I need to like I need this energy because like I also need just my downtime. And so just be prepared mentally. But you have to take advantage of the opportunities. So I am very purposeful, and like we're going to the welcome event dinner the night before. And my team, I think generally would sit with each other. It was like, no, no, no. everyone take a different table because
Yeah.
you have to take advantage of getting to meet different people. You don't know who you're going to be sat in at. If I like in just conferences in general, I will attend different sessions so I can listen in to what's being talked about. You don't know who you're going to sit next to. And like to me, that's where like you get really good conversations with someone that's less guarded and you're learning about them. And I try not to hard sell people of like, oh, let me talk to you about this, but just learn about them and be like, hey, stop by our booth if you're interested. I'm here. It's great to get to know you. But I've made a lot of really good connections that way. And I think, again, that is like the bigger piece of the puzzle versus even just like being at the booth. Obviously, someone walks up, they're interested, but there are so many opportunities. Grabbing dinner in the corners where they have all the venues. I remember actually, Russell, I chose not to go up and talk to you. This is when I like first met you.
What?
You were sitting outside and you were just like taking 5 minutes to yourself. And I was like, okay. Like you also got to read the room of like, I think it was like your first show when you guys had a big giant booth and it was chaos. And I was like, Russell looks like he needs a minute. So I didn't bug him. And I think like that's my advice for other people too, is like I saw someone I knew in the airport and I knew they were a dealer. The whole airplane's full of dealers.
Yeah.
Tell them at 5 a.m. Like they're gonna hate you. And like you have to read the room and
Yeah,
read.
that's not a networking moment, 5 a.m. on an airplane.
No, and I was like, one, I don't look my best. Like I
Yeah,
must
damn right.
musty bun, sweatpants, and glasses on. Like not my typical look.
Yeah.
But I've seen it. I've witnessed it. So I also want to make sure like NADA is before all the prep. It's during the show, and then it's the follow up after. And you need to read what is going on, how is it going. If you're out at the bars later and you see someone with their tag on, don't bug them. Like they're also just trying to enjoy themselves. You can drop a card, but leave it at that. And like I've just seen salespeople make that mistake, and then it also gives us vendors like a bad name and a frustrating, and they remember
Yep.
that. And the
Yep.
industry is small.
Yep.
Um, I have made some of the best connections, like running into people, and then they walk by the booth. I was like, "Hey, remember we chatted?" And then I feel bad. I guilt them. Now I feel guilty, but I guilt them. They're like, "Oh, I should go talk to her. Well, she was really nice." Little do they know I'm a sassafras, but like that it builds that rapport and that relationship and like that trust. So I really attend as many events as you can. Get out there, like. I don't know, Women in Automotive always does like morning yoga. I hate yoga, but I will go to yoga and like meet people and talk because that does benefit you longer. And I think that networking aspect is the most important
It's
part.
everything.
You can join those sessions.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
everything. And you gotta get out there. So man, there's so many great talking points. For those that don't know, I think so I met her and got to her, I mean, Kate. I met Kate at SDL, the first and only SDL there has ever been. And it was a close knit group of people. And I mean, it was amazing getting to know you, your family, met your husband, your kid. I mean, it was just truly amazing. And we even tried to hire you.
I know.
And I mean, it worked out the way it was supposed to. It
Life
did.
works out the way it's supposed to, but
It
it
did.
was it was
But,
it was there and I
but
almost worked for Russell and we
yep,
stayed friends. And again, this networking aspect
yep.
is so important.
Yep, I got to tell you, I am so proud of all that you've accomplished since I met you in the hoops. You just you're
I was a baby.
life is at you're not now. Life is at the edge of your comfort zone, and you live it and breathe it. See, you can know whatever you can know about the product in great detail, and you can't sell your way out of a paper bag. But you don't even have to know the product in great detail. But if you have a personality like you, it's over. If they like you, they trust you, they believe you, they're going to buy from you. And that's it. And when Charity asked you that number about follow up, for me, it's always been 8. Most salespeople, they don't even pick up the damn phone after the fact to follow up. But then there's also an art to know when it's time to pause and pick it back up another time. And you have all those in. I don't know if you learned them, if it's instinctive, it's just from the sheer volume of what you do, but you're a force to be reckoned with. You really are. You're going to go extremely far. And if there's anything, of course, if there's anything I can ever do, or charity, or anybody on here, we'll go, man. Conversations, the follow up. Sales is finding salespeople is really, really difficult sometimes.
It is.
They can put on a show, but you can. I've made a lot of mistakes with hiring salespeople. I'm not making those mistakes anymore. We all learn, right? I don't care how old you are, you all learn. But you have a knack. You have a knack for. You are very humble, and but you can also be very forceful and matter of fact. But you have a knack of bringing out the best in people. That's an extreme quality that a lot of people don't have. And you have a way of helping people overcome if people like you, they trust you. I mean, as I said earlier, they believe you and they're going to buy from you. But on top of all that, you have a way of instilling motivation in people that they can and that you believe in them. And that's almost as important as breathing air and drinking water. Is they count, they matter, they make a difference. You have a way of really just resonating with people that way. And I'm pissed because I couldn't hire you. But that's okay. No.
We're still friends. We're still friends. Everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you never know. You never know where our paths might cross. And that's the reason you got to, if you don't have a connection with somebody or it's not the right time, love them where they're at and move on down the road. Don't ever close the door. If you shut the door, just like you said, small business here. It's a small business. Social media could kill you if you're a jerk.
1,000%. And that is one of the biggest things I've learned is everyone knows everyone. A guy at Verizon Wireless knew Lamont Harris
no way.
He works for Matt Bowers in the South, always on SDL. Anyway, someone in Madison, Wisconsin.
Daryl Terrell.
Daryl. He literally knew Daryl in this. And I'm like, what? Like how? And I don't even know how we came up on it, but the industry is small. People know everyone. And it is so important to have that reputation. Like there is no lying. Like I understand people leave this industry because they've gotten a bad name. That's the only reason I can think of why people leave this industry is because of that. And because everyone knows everyone. And if you've done a bad job, you do something sleazy, you take shortcuts,
that's right.
People hear about it, and everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
There's no shortcuts, not to really maximizing, and it's unfortunate most people don't get it. I mean, if you think about just the automotive side, because I was in it for so long, when I started selling cars in 1985, the average salesperson sold 10. In 2025, it's 9.7. Are you kidding me? With all this technology, it's mostly leadership, but that's starting to change. It is starting to change because there's people like you, much more women are getting in the industry, and there's not a lot of Kates out there, but you are. I don't even know if it's proper to say stud. You're a studess. That's what you are. You're a studess.
You are so.
I'm going to come by and give you a hug at your booth, though.
Yes, I would be very mad at you. And Dave, I will find you if you don't do it. So watch out.
Well, okay. I wish we had another hour so I could ask you a bunch more questions, but
we have another hour, really?
It went by really fast.
It does. It goes by so fast, and then we run out of time. And but I appreciate you taking your time, spending it with us, and giving us a window into what it takes to be a successful salesperson. It's obvious it's not easy, and it's not for the faint at heart. So thank you.
Thank you. It's the great equalizer, though, isn't it? You can whatever dream you're chasing, you can accomplish it through sales. You can.
You absolutely can. And that is like one thing like I share a lot on social is like I have a vision board, I have my goals, and like you have to like feel that, own that energy, and like you get to accomplish those. And that's why I like sales is also I get to control my destiny where I'm at. So
that's right.
I appreciate it. Russell and Charity have always been super supportive of me in my career in so many conversations. So it's fun to be on here, and I'm always open to chatting. If anyone watching ever has questions, wants to chat, I'm always happy to talk.
Thank you, Kate.
Right
Thank you,
on.
and thank you for everybody.
Kate, I just want to say thank you as somebody who's kind of like I'm not a salesperson, never been a salesperson. And yet I find myself in a position where I'm not really supposed to close because I'm not a closer, right? I'm a relationship builder. That's all I am. So especially what you said about following up and how to follow up with what, to follow up, I found really, really helpful. Because the challenge for me has been like, I feel like I'm imposing on my friends, right? Like over the last 8 years or so, I've built I mean, Dave knows me. I'm at a conference and people are hugging me and we're friends. And so I'm really struggling to overcome that. So maybe that helps.
Adding value, finding their problems. And I would also just say if you're not willing to sell your solution to your friend, you shouldn't be selling it. And maybe that made my decision for me in my past of when should I move on from something. And if I can't sell it to my friends, like that, my SEO nation, I can't do it then. And that impacts sales too. But also I have to remind my team, and I'll leave it with this, is you're not imposing on their time. You're not imposing on them if you're solving problems. If you're not solving problems, yes, you're imposing on their time. But if you have a solution for the troubles that they have, you're not wasting their time. So don't feel bad.
And it's even a disadvantage if you don't share it with them.
Yes.
That's what I
never
believe.
feel bad because I'm solving their
I
problems.
know. I mean, I could keep talking about that because
Well, call me sometime if you ever want to chat. So
Okay, great. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. I don't want to take everybody,
You need to be on the next We Are, Sandy. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys should touch base and chat, and I'll probably touch base with you again in the future, Kate, to circle back around and answer the rest of my questions.
Thank you for all the nuggets and wisdom you dropped today. It was a freaking amazing. We Are.
It was great. Thank you,
Kate,
Kate.
it was
Thank you,
awesome.
everybody. Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for being here,
Bye.
everybody. Thanks.